Yeah, so we're starting late today. Just been a bit under the weather. And then there are people who WhatsApp me at 1 and 2 in the night. Come, I'll continue with cursors. I'll continue with cursors. To explain the cursors, I have EMP table, same as yesterday. So I have EMP table, same as yesterday. And of course, we have the temp table. Temp table, as you are aware, that is my output table. So that's my EMP table. It's there in the database. It's there in the server hard disk. Now, yesterday I told you that cursors is the most important topic in MySQL. In the next few minutes, I will show you the most important topic or the most important program in the whole of course. And obviously, the most important program in the whole of courses, you can consider it to be the most important program in the whole of MySQL. So start writing, please. First things first, you change your delimiter. Begin. First, I need to declare my variables A, B, C, and D. Same structure as EMP. Identical structure. And what else? I require this Y variable, remember? I'll initialize it to 0. Then I declare my cursor. Select star from EMP. Of course, I require a continue handler or not found. Set Y equal to 1. We open the cursor. We enter the cursor C1 loop. Fetch C1 into A, comma B, comma C, comma D. If Y is equal to 1, Then I'm going to leave the cursor C1 loop. And see what I'm doing in this program. Assuming that the fetching is successful, I'm saying update EMP, set sal equal to sal plus 1. Update EMP, set sal equal to sal plus 1. Then I end my cursor C1 loop. I close the cursor. And then I change the lead delimiter back to default. More smooth. So what's new in Sangli?
Rainy.
Really, it's raining.
Yes, sir.
तो आज मार्केट अप होगा. Don't it?
Yes, sir.
Go through it, students. Listen now. Create
Sir.
procedure ABC.
Sir, your voice
Yes.
is lagging.
Yeah. Let me restart my net. Yeah. I hope this is better.
Yes, sir.
Come. So let's understand what's happening here. First, I declare my 4 variables, A, B, C, D.
Sir, your screen is not
Your
visible.
screen.
Now can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Now don't interrupt me. First things first. First, I declare my 4 variables A, B, C, D. Same structure as EMP table. So look here, considering that this is the server app, my 4 variables are created. They are there in server app. A, B, C, and D. Same structure as EMP. You may want to draw this. That's what Vaishnavi was saying. My ex-student from YC. She sent me photograph of her notes today on WhatsApp. She's in USA. She said, sir, I was just going through the notes and I got nostalgic, so I thought I'll say hello. So you may want to draw both neat handwriting. Vaishnavi. So I declare my 4 variables ABCD. What next? I also declare my Y variable as integer. I have initialized to 0. Everyone knows purpose of Y variable. I'm going to use it to leave my cursor C1 loop. I also declare my C1 cursor, select star from EMP. And I declare my continue handler. When the fetching is unsuccessful, cursor attribute not found returns a Boolean true value that will automatically raise the exception, or should I say continue handler. And for not found, it will set y equal to 1. Open C1. Pay attention now. This is where the action begins. Open C1 will open my cursor C1. It will execute the select statement, select star from EMP. It will populate my cursor C1. My cursor C1 will contain these 5 rows of EMP. By default, cursor pointer is pointing at the first row within the cursor. As I mentioned yesterday, if you have large number of rows in your EMP table, you will require a large amount of RAM for the cursor, isn't it? If your EMP table is 1 GB in size, I will require 1 GB RAM only for this cursor. If the RAM is not enough, then MySQL will use virtual memory. But then that will be very slow. Virtual memory is basically, it creates a paging file on the server hard disk. You know what a paging file is? It creates a temporary swap file on the server hard disk and uses a section of hard disk as server RAM. I'll show you how to do the setting for that. Yesterday, I could not. Well, what you need to do is on your server, in your case, your computer is the server. On the server, you open settings. And inside your settings, you search for performance. In settings, you search for performance. Now, in performance, can you see adjust the appearance and performance of Windows? You click on that. And you click on advanced. Virtual memory. A paging file is an area on the hard disk that Windows uses as if it were RAM. The total paging size for all drives is 3 GB. But I can change it, I can increase it, I can decrease it. Obviously, I'm going to do this if I have large number of rows in EMP. Obviously, I'll require large amount of RAM for the cursor. So I'll click on this change button. You can see a checkbox here, automatically manage paging file size for all drives. I'll just uncheck that and choose custom size. Initial size, I'll give it as 16 GB and maximum size, I'll give it as 32 GB. Okay, na? So section of hard disk will be used as RAM. And then you click on the set button. I'm not going to click on the set button because it's going to ask me to restart my computer. I don't want to do that right now in the middle of the session. But if I click on set, if I click on OK, it's going to ask me to restart my computer, but I'm not going to do that right now. Okay? Now, can anyone tell me what is the output of this program? Let me see how intelligent you are. And let me see how much practice you did today with cursors. What is the output of this program? What is this program doing? Because it's important you understand this program. After this, I will show you the most important program in the whole of MySQL. But first, you understand this one. Can anyone explain what is the output of this? Chinmay, Aniket? Mimikar, Rishi, anyone wants to answer? Naruto,
Salary increases the
Sir, shall will be updated.
Sal will be updated. That's
The cell is increasing by 1.
so. What are you saying? Are you saying Sal will increase by 1 for all the rows?
First,
For the first,
Only the
to
first
sir.
row.
the cell will be updated for
For all the
rows.
All the rows, sir. Whole column.
All
will
the
be
rows
updated.
plus 1.
All the rows. So we have 5 rows in EMP. You're saying all the rows. It will add 1 to the Sal column. Is that correct?
It will add 1 5 times.
Yes. And who's the student? Is that Devi?
Devi, yes, sir.
Devi, आवाज से पहचान लिया. Huh? Devi is correct, students. It's going to add 5 to the whole cell column. Understood, Dheeraj, Jnanu? It will add 5 to the whole cell column.
So why?
I'll tell you why. See here, let's go through it. Just concentrate now because this is the most important program. I'm coming to that after this one. Open C1. Open C1 will open my cursor C1. It will execute the select statement. It will populate my cursor C1. My cursor C1 contains these 5 rows. By default, cursor pointer is pointing to the first row. We enter the cursor C1 loop, fetch C1 into ABCD. The first row from the cursor will be fetched over here into these four variables. When this fetch has been performed, students, can we say that this fetching was successful? Yes, the first row was fetched successfully. Therefore, it's not going to leave my cursor C1 loop. And what am I doing next? I'm saying update EMP, set sal equal to sal plus 1. Update EMP, set sal equal to sal plus 1. What will this do? It will add 1 to the whole sal column. You understood, students? It's an
Okay, sir.
update statement. It's an update statement without a where condition. It will update all the rows. It will add 1 to the whole cell column. Understood? Second time in the loop, fetch C1 into ABCD. What happens? The second row from the cursor will be fetched into these variables. The second row from the cursor is fetched into these variables. The second time in the loop, the second row will be fetched. Again, I'm saying update EMP, set sal equal to sal plus 1. It's going to add 1 to the whole cell column, isn't it? It's an update statement without a where condition. It will add 1 to the whole cell column. Since my cursor contains 5 rows, this loop is going to execute 5 times. And 5 times, it's going to add 1 to the whole cell column. So what is the net result after I run this program? If I say select star from EMP, I'm going to see sal plus 5 for all the rows. Did everyone understand? Is there anyone who did not understand? Ask me now, before I move on to the next program. Everyone understood? Good answer, Devi. You surprised me.
Okay, sir.
I think some of the students, I think some of you got a bit confused because of this cursor pointer. And therefore, seeing that cursor pointer, maybe you must have assumed that first time in the loop, it will update the first row. Second time in the loop, it will update the second row. Third time in the loop, it will update the third row. वो हो जाता है. सी प्रोग्रामर को पॉइंटर देके हिल जाती है. पोपटलाल की तरह दुनिया हिल जाती है. पोपू की तरह. पुलिस की शादी हो जाएगी. So if everyone has understood, can we move on to the next program? Yes, are you ready? Now, before I show you the most important program in the whole of MySQL12, I want you to understand the next program. And if you can understand that, then you are ready to see the ultimate program of DBT model. Okay? Dheeraj, incredible. This update statement, na, see what I'm doing. I'll put an if and if here. If C is greater than 7,000, then update EMP, set sal equal to sal plus 1. First of all, you please update your notebook. Make a note of this if and if. No need to write the whole program. In your notebook, just draw an arrow or something over there and insert this there. Hmm? कोड आ गया तो फिर पार्टी. हाँ? Students wrote if and if. So now tell me, guys, what is the output of this program? Hmm? In my Manoj, very good Manoj. Manoj is saying it's going to add 2 to the sal column. Which row, Manoj?
All the rows.
All the rows. It will add to the sal column. That's correct, Manoj. It's going to add 2 to the whole sal column. Manoj, will you please explain? इनमें क्या बोल रहा है zero? Why you saying zero?
सर वो गलती से टाइप हो गया.
Up to row number 3, employee number 3, update statement will not. And in 4 and 5, update will be done on salary. So
Yes.
cell plus 1 2 times.
Yes. Yes, Manoj. Very good. Students, did the whole class understand? It's going to add 2 to the whole cell column. Did the whole class understand? Yes or no? Is there anyone who did not understand? Ask me now. Okay. I'll still go through it once for the benefit of everyone. Listen now. Before I show you the most important program in the whole of MySQL, listen now. Open C1. This will open the cursor C1. Cursor C1 contains 5 rows. By default, cursor pointer is here, pointing at the first row. We enter the cursor C1 loop, fetch C1 into ABCD. The first row from the cursor, the first row from the cursor will be fetched here, where the first row from the cursor will be fetched here. What is the value of C variable, students? The value of C variable is 5,000. What have I given here? If C is greater than 7,000, then update EMP. Condition is not satisfied, nothing will be updated. Second time inside the loop, the second row will be fetched. Again, the sal is not greater than 7,000. Third time in the loop, third row is fetched. Again, the sal is not greater than 7,000. Now comes the main thing. Look at me, students. When the fourth row is fetched, Manoj, when the fourth row is fetched, 4D 9,000. What is the value of sal? What is the value of sal? It is 9,000. It is greater than 7,000. No? If C is greater than 7,000, then update DMP. Set sal equal to sal plus 1. It's going to add 1 to the whole sal column. And similarly, when the fifth row is fetched, the value of sal is 8,000. C variable will be 8,000. It's greater than 7,000. So update EMP. Set sal equal to sal plus 1. Will add 1 to the whole sal column. So net result, after running this program, if you observe the salaries, It will be +2. It is +2 for all the rows. Understood, Nyanu? आजकल न्यानू बहुत न्यूज में न्यानू ज्ञान वापी पता नहीं क्या क्या हो रहा है आजकल डन Rishi, did you understand?
Yes, sir.
Now let me show you the most important program in the whole of MySQL. I was telling you, 17-line program. Well, I'm showing you the 17-line program now. Vaibhav, listen. Listen. Suppose you want it this way. Manoj, listen. Suppose you want it this way, that when the fourth row is fetched, when the fourth row is fetched, you want that the fourth row in the table, only that row should be updated. Fair enough. When the fourth row is fetched, you want corresponding fourth row in the table to be updated. I need to update where employee number equal to 4. Employee number equal to 4, that is stored inside a variable. So what you do is in your update statement, you give a where condition where employee number equal to a, will update the fourth row, and later will update the fifth row. The second thing I'd like you to do is the select statement of cursor. I want you to give a for update clause. Remember for update, it is used to lock the rows manually. So when my cursor is opened, MySQL will execute this select statement, select star from EMP. It will populate my cursor. My cursor contains 5 rows. But one extra thing that happens, because I'm saying for update, it will manually lock all the rows of EMP. The whole table has become exclusive to me for update and delete purposes. And how long will this table remain locked? Till I give a rollback or commit. So don't forget to specify rollback or commit at the end of your program. This, students, according to me, is the most important program in the whole of MySQL. Please write the whole program, then I'll go through it in detail. Please write the whole program, then I'll go through it in detail. Students, would it be all right if my better half joins me? She just wanted to see all of you. Come sit, but don't talk to them, okay? Just sit quietly. If they talk. So there's hi.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good
Hello,
evening,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Nice to see you, ma'am.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello, ma'am.
Good evening, ma'am.
Hello, ma'am.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. Good
Good
evening.
evening, ma'am.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yeah. No, it's a virtual background.
Oh,
It's a virtual background. So that's Dishi. She's from Bhopal. And that's Dheeraj. He's from Santi. Manoj is from Dhar.
Dhar?
Yeah, that's an MP only. Vaibhav is from Indore. Himanshu hasn't told me where he's from. Neither has Rohit. But Devi is the
Kanpur se.
one who. Acha, they're from Nagpur. Devi is the one who is married to Mahesh.
Oh, okay.
My previous batch na, in Kharghar.
Right,
We
right.
used to talk
Yeah.
1 and 2 late in the night.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello.
So she's the one you were saying is pretty. Huh? Mahesh is in Goregaon, but she is with her family at Mulund because he doesn't want to get distracted from her studies. Or so she claims. We don't know the real story. And that's Rohit with the Avengers. He's the Saif Ali Khan Patodi of this batch.
Oh.
So, yeah, he's going around with Karina.
Okay. Tell them on the last day.
So on the last day, Rohit is going to give a speech, farewell speech. But that time you can come and join them again.
Yes, sir, definitely.
Yes, Himanshu, you can.
Okay.
What you do, Himanshu, is when you fetch C1 into ABCD, you check the value of A variable because employee number is stored in A variable. And what you do is you use the mod function. So you take mod of A variable and you divide it by 2. If the remainder is 0, it means it is even. So you update for that row by 2. Else you update for that row by 1.
Okay. बट क्वेश्चन ये था कि और डिजिट की सैलरी को +1 करना है और इवन डिजिट सैलरी को +2 करना है.
और डिजिट सैलरी को अच्छा मुझे लगा एम्प्लॉय नंबर. हाँ तो सेम यहाँ पे एम्प्लॉय नंबर बोला उसके जगह सैल ले लो ना. You take sal is stored in your C variable, right?
सर इसमें कंडीशन क्या डालेंगे वेयर वाले में?
So what you do is over here, if mod of C comma 2, if this is equal to 0, if this is equal to 0,
Yes, sir.
if this is equal to 0 means it is divisible by 2, it means it is even. So in your update statement, you will say where employee number equal to A, will update that row. Else, यहाँ पे +2 करेंगे ना. There is no place on the screen, that's why I'm writing it like this short form. Else you update by 1. Does that answer your question?
सही ये लास्ट वाला क्वेश्चन नहीं समझा मैं. EMP
अरे
नंबर यहाँ पे लिखा हुआ है where EMP नंबर इक्वल टू A. सही है मेरे को सारी वो रो के लिए करना है. पहला रो, दूसरा रो, तीसरा रो कंबाइन. मतलब अगर वो सैलरी अगर इवन है तो +2 वो कर दे और अगर ऑड सैलरी है तो माइनस मतलब +1. तो मेरे को डाउट हो रहा था कि वो वेयर वाले.
What you do is when you fetch the row into this ABCD variable, inside this ABCD variable you will check if mod C comma 2, sal is there in C.
Yes, sir.
This is equal to 0. It means it is even. So what will you do? You will update EMP.
Yes, sir.
That sal equal to sal plus 2.
Yes, sir.
For which row where employee number equal to A, where employee number equal to
yes, sir,
A.
yes, sir.
Else, same update statement, but you will say +1 where employee number equal to A.
Okay.
Got it?
हाँ सर. सर मैं कैपिटल ए और कैपिटल ए में कंफ्यूज हो गया था. मतलब ये कौन सा है?
नहीं, A is the variable name. That's all. Thanks. You want to write this quickly, Himanshu?
Gita, 6.
So,
Hmm.
if we don't write for update, will it show an error or
It will
simply
still work. It will still work. But why I've given for update is because of some other reason, which I will explain in a few minutes.
Okay, sir.
Himanshu, may I rub this? Then the other students can just finish
sir.
the remainder of program if we're still writing. Don't forget to give a commit at the end of the program. Come, I'll explain it. What's new out here? Well, you see the select statement of cursor. I've specified for update. Everyone knows for update. It will manually lock rows of EMP table. I don't have to give for update in uppercase. I'm using uppercase just to highlight it because this is the main thing in this program. So here's the thing. You open the cursor. When I open my cursor, select star from EMP. My cursor will contain 5 rows. By default, cursor pointer is pointing at the first row. But the main thing here is because I'm saying for update, it will manually lock all rows of EMP table. The whole table has become exclusive to me for update and delete purpose. Other users can select star from EMP. Other users can insert into EMP. But no other user can update or delete from EMP till I have given a rollback or commit. The locks are automatically released when you roll back or commit. So we open the cursor, we enter the cursor loop, we start fetching from the cursor. Initially, for the first 3 rows, nothing is going to happen. When the 4th row is fetched, what is the value of sal? It is 9,000. That is there inside my C variable. When the 4th row is fetched, I'm saying update EMP, where EMP NO equal to A, it's going to update the 4th row in the table. And similarly, when the 5th row is fetched, update EMP, it's going to update. It's going to update the fifth row in the table. It's going to update the fifth row in the table. So for the last row, it's going to do tal plus 1. I come out of the cursor loop, I close the cursor, I free the RAM, commit. Commit will save the changes. It will make my update permanent, and commit will also unlock the table. Otherwise, my table is going to remain locked till my end of session. Now, two important things here. As Devi was asking me, in order for me to give this update statement, locking my EMP table manually is not necessary, because that we have seen a week ago that the row locking in MySQL is automatic. The row locking in MySQL is automatic. So why have I locked my EMP table manually? Well, suppose you have large number of rows in EMP. Let's assume you have 50 crore rows. If you have large number of rows in EMP, let's say you have 50 crore rows, what is my program doing? My program is updating the last two rows of EMP table. Now my point is, if you have large number of rows in EMP, this program will be slow. It will take 45 minutes to execute. And while your program is running, suppose some other user logs in and updates the last row, or some other user deletes the second last row, then that row will become locked for me. So when my program comes there and tries to update the last two rows, it encounters a locked row. It will go and wait in the server. It will wait in a request queue. When will that row become available to me? When other user has given rollback or commit. And if the other user is not a responsible user, my program will be stuck here for a long time. Which is why what I have done is, to be on the safe side, when I open my cursor, in the select statement of cursor, I've specified for update. So when my cursor is opened, it will manually lock EMP table. And the whole table has become exclusive to me for update and delete purposes. Then my program may take 45 minutes to execute, or it may take 1 hour to execute. It will always be successful. I told you earlier that the row locking in MySQL is automatic. That is optimistic locking. But you and I are going to be practical. You and I, we are not going to take a chance. We are going to be pessimistic. So please remember to lock the table before you issue update or delete. And similarly, I have done this for update. I have done this for update. I have done this for update. Similarly, I can do for delete. If I say delete from EMP, it's going to delete all the rows. But if I say where EMP no equal to A, will update, or in this case, it will delete fourth and fifth row respectively. And even if you plan to delete, for locking the table, the syntax is for update only. This, I believe, is your second most important program in the whole of MySQL. Please make a note of the delete statement. It will delete fourth and fifth. No need to write the whole program. Just draw one arrow in your notebook and insert that delete statement there.
Hello, sir.
Yes,
So it means whenever we are saying commit the above procedure, it will automatically delock the whole table.
yes, unlock the whole thing.
That means along with saving, he is doing also one function that is delocking the table.
Along with
Along with saving all the procedures which we have done on the table. it
not
is also-
saving procedure. Hello, if I give create procedure command,
Yeah.
create procedure in any case is a DDL command. It will automatically commit.
Yes, yes.
This commit statement is for insert, update, delete only.
So
Hmm.
let's say our program is running and like you said, it is a large number of rows and somebody without locking the table, okay? And somebody already updated one of the row. So the cursor will contain the previous data, no? Not the updated value, right?
Whatever data is there in the table at the time of opening the cursor, that will be there inside the cursor.
Okay. Okay.
Changes made by other user will not affect me until I close and reopen the cursor. Then it will contain the latest data.
Okay.
Finish writing? I'll explain it. We open the cursor, we enter the cursor C1 loop, we start fetching from the cursor. For the first 3 rows, nothing is going to happen. When the 4th row is fetched, if statement is satisfied, I'm saying delete from EMP, where EMP equal to A, will delete the 4th row. And similarly, when the last row is fetched, delete from EMP will delete the last. And even in the case of delete, if you want to log the rows manually, we have to use for update clause only. There's no such thing as for delete clause. Am I clear? Now listen, when I talk about cursors, last 2 points I want to make. If you ask me the uses of cursors, there are 2 uses. Use for storing multiple rows, use for handling multiple rows, use for processing multiple rows is one use. Can anyone tell me what is the second use of cursors? Multiple rows to ticket, that everyone knows. Can anyone tell me a second use of cursor? Chinmay, Rahul,
Yes, I.
Kaustubh, काली बकरी की सफेद बकरी.
Minimum I.
During ticket booking, 2 users seen that 1 seat is available for booking. They both tried to book the ticket. Who will get booking done depends on which criteria. First in, first out, Manoj. The first user who issued the update statement is the winner. The second one will wait in a queue. Understood, Manoj?
Yes, sir.
सुदीप is saying HRA calc attendance calc. वो हो गया इसमें storing multiple rows. Amay is saying to lock the rows. That's right. Within minimum, I have understood it. The main use of cursor, they are used to lock the rows manually. In fact, this should be your first answer. When you go for placements, if they ask you what is practical use of cursors, multiple rows तो सभी को पता है. Multiple rows तो सभी को पता है. वो तो सीधा कैंटीन में जो वेटर है उसको भी पता है. Cursor is used for multiple. What is the main use? Used to lock the rows manually. Now, listen to me. How to lock the rows manually? If you want to lock the rows manually, I have to use select statement with a for update clause. Fair enough. This is going to lock the rows manually. But what is the problem with this select statement? Well, the problem is when I type this select statement, it's going to lock my AMP table, which is fine, but output is going to come on the screen, isn't it? If I type this select statement, I had demonstrated row locking earlier. If I type this select statement, output will come on the screen and it will lock the rows manually. Now, what is my intention? My intention is to lock EMP table. Does that mean output should come on the screen? What if I have 1,000,000 rows in EMP table? I want to lock 1,000,000 rows. If I want to lock 1,000,000 rows of EMP table, does that mean output should come on the screen? No. My intention is to lock the table. So how to lock the table? Somehow I need to execute this select statement in my program. That's how I can lock my table. So what I'll do is I'll declare a cursor which is based on this select statement. What I'll do is I'll create a procedure. Create procedure ABC. I am least interested in procedure. My intention is to lock EMP table. To lock my EMP table, somehow I need to run the select statement, isn't it? So what I'll do is I'll declare a cursor which is based on the select statement. I will open C1 and close C1. I am least interested in cursor. My intention is to lock my EMP table. So when I open my cursor, it will execute the select statement. It will populate my cursor. My cursor C1 contains these 5 rows. My cursor C1 contains these 5 rows. By default, cursor pointer, it's pointing at the first row. But what is the main thing that happens? When this select statement is executed, not only will it populate my cursor, but it's going to manually lock EMP table for other users. After which I am least interested in cursor. I'll close the cursor, free the RAM, close the cursor, free the RAM. But what is the net result of this program? The entire EMP table has been manually locked for other users. The entire EMP table has become exclusive to me for update and delete purposes. So all I need to do is, I need to say call ABC. And when I say call ABC, what is the net result? It will manually lock all rows of EMP table. It comes in interviews. Even people with experience, like 2-3 years experience don't know this. In interviews, when they ask you how to lock the table manually, If you say you require select statement with a for update clause, that is correct. But that's an incomplete answer. What is the complete answer? If you want to log the table, if you want to log the rows manually, you declare a cursor whose select statement contains a for update clause. You open the cursor, you close the cursor. Net result, your EMP table becomes logs for other users. And yes, there is no unlock command here. There is no unlock command here. The locks, they are automatically released. The locks, they are automatically released when you roll back or commit. The locks are automatically released when you roll back or commit. Understood, Manoj? How to log the rows manually? Declare a cursor whose select statement contains a for update. Open C1, close C1. Open C1 will open the cursor. It will execute the select statement. It will populate the cursor. But because I'm saying for update, it will manually lock EMP table. After which I can close the cursor, I can free the RAM, but
Sir,
my
at the
EMP
cursor-
table, but my
When
EMP table remains locked for other users. Yes?
When we close the cursor, it will unlock.
No. Locks are released when you roll back or commit, not when you close the cursor. Okay?
Yes.
Close the cursor is to free the RAM. My intention of cursor, मैंने cursor का इस्तेमाल किया है just to lock EMP table. After which I can close the cursor and free the RAM, but your table will remain locked for other users. Vivek, what is this 4424? Or did you type it by mistake? Students, this is going to lock the entire EMP table. If you want to lock specific rows, how to lock specific rows? Give a suitable where clause. Don't lock a million rows and shut down here. Otherwise, nobody else will be able to do any work. Please lock only those rows that you plan to update or delete.
And sir, if user forget to roll back or commit, then
Then the table gets unlocked. Then the rows get unlocked.
no, I mean he did not roll back or commit.
Then the table will remain locked till you exit, till you end your session.
Okay.
In fact, I would go to the extent of saying that even if you want to lock a million rows, even if you want to update a million rows, I would recommend you break up the work. First, you lock the rows of department number 1, do your processing, save the changes. Then you lock the rows of department number 2, do your processing, save the changes. Then you lock the rows of department number 3, do your processing, save the changes. Do it bit by bit. Don't lock the whole table and sit down. Otherwise, nobody else will be able to do any work. All right.
Yes.
Any questions? Any questions?
Sir, in last program, position of commit. So position of commit will be after close, before end. Or it will
Before
be
end.
Before close cursor.
Any of the two will do. Any of the two will do. Any of the two will do. So it comes in interviews, how to log the rows manually. If you say select statement with a for update clause, that is correct, but it's an incomplete answer. What is the complete answer? Declare a cursor whose select statement contains a for update clause. Then you open the cursor and close it. The table will get locked for other users. Of course, this is hard coding. Here I'm hard coding department number equal to 1. You know how to make it flexible, no? You can always pass department number as a parameter. That's how you make it flexible. User can log the rows of his choice for department number of his choice, which he plans to update. May I continue? May I start with a new topic? Speaking
Yes,
of parameters, parameters are of 3 types. We can have in parameters, out parameters, and in-out parameters. In-out is one word. Don't put a blank space in the middle. In-out is one word. Please don't put a blank space in the middle. Same thing is there in Oracle. MySQL ने ये भी copy किया aimlessly. Of course, in Oracle, in-out is 2 words. In MySQL, it is 1 word. In parameters are read only. Out parameters are write only. In-out would be read and write. In-out would be read and write. Read only, write only, read and write. First, let us discuss in parameters. You know what this means, no? Read only means the value cannot be changed. Write only means the value can be changed, but it cannot be read from. Whereas read and write is the most powerful. Straight away, let's take an example. First, let's discuss the in parameter. Start writing, please. Create procedure ABC. Let me create my timetable. This is my output table. Now listen to the explanation. Create procedure ABC. I create a procedure by the name of ABC. My procedure requires a parameter Y. Data type is int. It is in parameter, implying that it is read only, which means if I say set Y equal to 100, I'll get an error, no? You cannot modify its value. You can read from it. Set X equal to Y plus 10 is allowed. This is allowed. I can have Y on right hand side of equal to sign. I cannot have Y on left hand side of equal to sign. No problem, students. Come. Now listen to the explanation. Set X equal to Y is okay, Akshay. But set Y equal to X is not okay. I hope that answers you, Akshay. Now, when I make a call to my procedure, I can say call ABC of 5. Here, when I say call ABC of 5, I make a call to my procedure ABC. I'm passing the value 5 in brackets. At the receiving end, parameter y is there. Y is initialized to 5. So in the procedure, when I insert into temp y inside ABC, we will get 5 inside ABC. No problem. I'll get 5 inside ABC. Another thing which I can do is I can create a session variable, set @x equal to 10. So when I make a call to ABC, I will supply this as a value. The value of @x is 10. The value 10 is sent across. At the receiving end, parameter y is there. Y will be initialized to 10. And therefore, insert into temp y inside ABC will give me 10 inside ABC. So the second time when I make a call to my procedure, I'm going to get 10 inside ABC. Output is 10 inside ABC. A third example I can show you is in your MySQL workbench, you can create a session variable, set @x equal to 10. Now, when you make a call to ABC, you can supply an expression here, 2 into @x plus 5. So what happens here? MySQL will evaluate this expression, 2 into x plus 5. It simplifies to 25. The value 25 will be sent across. At the receiving end, parameter y is there. Y is initialized to 25. So later when I insert into temp, y inside ABC, I'm going to get 25 inside ABC. Output will be 25 inside ABC. What is this? So the point I wanted to make, students, is look here. The point I want to make here is if I'm dealing with in parameter, pay attention. If I'm dealing with in parameter, I can pass a constant such as 5. I can pass a variable such as @x, and I can supply an expression also, 2 into @x plus 5. So in the case of in parameter, the point I want to make is you can pass a constant, you can pass a variable, and you can pass an expression also. You can pass a constant, you can pass a variable, you can pass an expression also. And one more point, whether you pass a constant such as 5, whether you pass a variable such as @x, whether you pass an expression as I have shown here, it's always going to be called by value. It's going to be called by value. So the value 5 is sent across, the value 10 is sent across, the value 25 is sent across. It is called by value, not by reference. You know what that means, right? Call by value, not reference. In is the fastest. Fastest in terms of processing speed. If I were to compare in parameter, if I were to compare in parameter without parameter with a not parameter, this is the fastest in terms of processing speed. And yes, Rahul, whenever you specify parameter, by default it is in only. This is by default. This is by default. So over here, even if I don't use the keyword in, it is all right. By default, it is in. So all the examples we've done in the last few days were all examples of in parameter. And I was taking great care not to change the value of any of the parameters inside the process. So Oracle and MySQL, they choose performance, they choose speed over functionality. By default, it is in. Wrote it, students. Now, one procedure can call another procedure. Let's take an example on that. Create procedure PQR. Inside this procedure, I'll declare my X variable. I'll initialize it to 10. And what I'll do is, I'll call my procedure ABC. And at the end of it all, I will call PQ.
Inside PQR, we don't need call ABC call word for calling ABC.
You do. I forgot. Rotate. I'll explain it. I'll explain it. So first I create my procedure ABC. It requires a parameter y. It is integer. By default, it is in parameter. Inside the procedure, I'm inserting into temp y inside ABC. Later, I create my procedure PQR. PQR has a local variable x that I have initialized to 10. First, I make a call to ABC. I'm supplying the value 5 in brackets. The value 5 will be sent across. Parameter y is initialized to 5. So insert y will give me y inside ABC, 5 inside ABC. Later, I supply my x variable as value for parameter. Value of x is 10. The value 10 will be sent across. It is called by value, na? The value 10 is sent across. So insert into temp. I'll get 10 inside ABC. Output is this. The third time when I make a call to ABC, I've supplied an expression here. MySQL will first evaluate this expression. It simplifies to 25. The value 25 will be sent across. Parameter y is initialized to 25. So insert y will give me 25 inside ABC. And don't forget, at the end of it all, don't forget to call PQR. PQR in turn is going to call ABC. So having done this, now if I say select star from TMPP, I'm going to see this out. No problem, students. May I rub this? क्या देख रहा है धीरज? क्या सोच रहा है?
ऐसे कुछ नहीं ऐसे
ऐसे देखने में टैक्स नहीं लगता. So may I rub all this? Fine then. Let's see out parameter now. मेरी पिक तो नहीं ले रहा है ना? फाइल की पिक ले रहा था. Let's see out parameter. Out is right only. लिखो लिखो. Create procedure ABC. Create procedure ABC. वो बेटी बचाओ वाला देखा था ना? बेटी बचाओ बेटी पढ़ाओ. I'll explain it. Yes, Akash. Create procedure ABC. My procedure requires a parameter Y. It is out parameter. Out means it is right only. Inside the procedure, I'm setting Y equal to 100. It is right only. In the procedure, if I try to set X equal to Y, I'm going to get an error. I cannot read from it. I can assign a value to it. I can have Y on left-hand side of equal to sign. I cannot have Y on right-hand side of equal to sign. It won't allow. So first, you create the procedure. Once my procedure has been created, suppose I create a session variable, select @x equal to 10, and if I check the value of X, I'm going to see 10. Then what you do is, you make a call to ABC, and you supply this X variable as parameter, and then you check the value of X afterwards. The point I'm trying to make here is, students, in the case of out parameter, you can pass variables only. In the case of out parameter, you can pass variables only. Please write this. You can pass variables only. You cannot pass a constant. You cannot pass an expression. I can pass variables only. Now let me explain it. Set @x equal to 10. Look here. Set @x equal to 10. Here when I set @x equal to 10, in the RAM, in the server RAM, @x will be created. It stores a value 10. Now let me assume that this is the address of X variable. Let me assume that this is the address of X variable. It stores a value 10. So here, when I select @x from dual, I'm going to see 10. Now see what happens. Here I'm saying call ABC. I'm calling my procedure ABC. I'm supplying my variable x as value for parameter. At the receiving end, y is there. You know what happens here? Over here, the address of x will be sent across, not the value 10. The address of x will be sent across. Parameter y is created. It will have the same address as that of x. And therefore, it will also have a value 10. X and y, they are both sharing the same memory location. Value 10 will be stored there. Now, inside the procedure, set y equal to 100 will assign a value 100 to y. So the value 100 will be stored here. Indirectly, what has happened, students? Indirectly, what has happened? The value of x has also changed. Indirectly, the value of x has also changed. So after my procedure, when control comes back over here to the calling point, now if I select @x from dual, I'm going to see 100. I'm going to see 100. Did everyone follow? So what happens here in the case of out parameter? In the case of out parameter, I can pass variables only. And in the case of out parameter, it is called by reference. You understand? You know what is the meaning of call by reference now? The address is sent, not the value. It is called by reference. No problem, students.
Sir,
Hmm.
can you send a normal variable instead of session variable?
Yes, I'm coming to that. I'm showing you both the options. So one procedure can call another procedure. Students, let's create a new procedure. Please write this in your notebook. Create procedure PQR. Then you make a call to ABC. Shweta, are you here? I guess not. Noted students, let me explain. Create procedure PQR. So you create the procedure PQR and later you make a call to PQR. So first I declare my X variable. I initialize to 10. I insert into temp X before ABC. Here if I insert X before ABC, if I insert X before ABC, I'm going to get 10 before ABC. Fair enough. Now understand. I declare my X variable. I initialize to 10. X variable is created in server RAM. X is created in server RAM. It stores the value 10. Let me assume that this is the address of X variable. It stores the value 10. So here when I insert X before ABC, I'm going to get 10 before ABC. Then I make a call to ABC. I'm supplying the variable X in brackets. At the receiving end, parameter Y is there. It is an out parameter. So as I explained earlier, I can pass variables only and it's going to be called by reference. So what happens in this situation? The address of X will be sent to Y. Parameter Y is created. It will have the same address as that of X and therefore the same value as that of X. So Y is initialized to 10. Inside the procedure, set Y equal to 100. The value 100 will be stored inside Y variable and therefore the value 100 will be stored inside this address. Indirectly, what has happened? Indirectly, the value of X has also changed. Indirectly, the value of X has also changed. So later, in my calling procedure, if I insert into temp X after ABC, I'm going to see 100 after ABC. Did you understand, students? So my point is, I hope that answers the previous student also.
Yes, sir.
For out parameter, I can pass session variable and local variable, both.
Yes, sir.
In the case of out parameter, it is called by reference. So my point is, my procedure can return a value indirectly. Agreed? Not directly. I don't have a return statement here. Unlike functions, function returns a value. There is a return statement. A function returns a value directly. That is not possible here. But my procedure can return a value indirectly. Procedure can return a value indirectly if you call by reference. If you call by reference. The only challenge out here is it is write only. I cannot read from it. I cannot read from it. I cannot read from it. To take care of that, I have in-out parameters. In the case of in-out parameter, here also I can pass variables only. Here also it is called by reference. And my procedure can return a value indirectly if you call by reference. Please note down in-out. So, Shweta, you here?
Yes, sir.
Shweta, what I was asking is, the batch is online, but do you go to CDAC Kharghar or do you work from home only?
No, sir. I'm working from home.
Because some of the other people go to Kharghar and some of them work from home. So I was just wondering.
Yes, sir. Sometime there is a roster day, then I will go to the office.
Roster means?
रोस्टर मीन्स वीक में सिर्फ 2 बार जाना पड़ता है sir.
Oh, I see. Okay.
कोई भी 2 दिन Monday to Friday in between.
Good. So it must be a nice change for you to go to Kharghar and see some living people.
Yes, sir.
मेरा पिछले 2.25 साल से वर्क फ्रॉम होम ही चल रहा है.
Yes, sir.
I also go out of my house twice a week. I go down, start my car, take 2 rounds and come back. नहीं तो खड़ी खड़ी गाड़ी खराब हो जाती है.
सर आप जब फिजिकल में होते हैं तब हॉस्टल बुक कर लेते हैं ना सिडैक में?
हाँ. क्योंकि मेरे यहाँ से to come to Kharghar up down will take 4 hours daily. It's not worth it.
Exactly, sir.
So I come, I drive down to Kharghar, I come with my baggage, then I'm a guest and I enjoy the hospitality of CDAC Kharghar.
Yes, I know, sir.
अतिथि गृह करके रूम है ना 2nd floor.
हाँ, sir.
हाँ. So it's good fun. The batch goes on till late. Even after dinner, we take sometimes. Even the local students of Mumbai, they come and stay with their friends either in the hostel or close to CDAC Kharghar campus because रात को फिर 11-12 तक क्लास चलता है.
Yes, true, sir.
और उसके बाद भी हम लोग फिर बैठते हैं. वो फेमस स्टेप्स है ना खारघर के एंट्रेंस पे, before you enter the office, we all sit on the steps and hang out. The next batch, if it is physical and if Kharghar invites me, then maybe I'll get to meet you.
Always welcome.
When is the next batch, in August or September or October?
September, sir. September.
End.
Maybe starting.
Oh.
Start of this September.
तो ये दोनों बैच पैरेलल में चलेंगे.
हाँ सर, जब इनका प्लेसमेंट स्टार्ट होगा वहाँ पे वो बैच स्टार्ट होगी.
I see. इनका प्लेसमेंट ऑनलाइन है कि they will come to Bombay?
Online, sir. Only CC is offline, physical.
The next batch will be offline, na ma'am?
Not
That's
sure.
we are all hoping, provided there is no fourth wave.
Yes, sir.
Rohit is asking where it is used. What is used where? Rohit, I did not understand your question. Shall I scroll down? Practical use, if you want to return a value, Rohit, when I do HRA calculation, up till now what we have done, after doing HRA calculation, we insert into temp. We insert the HRA into temp table, but rather than inserting HRA into temp table, suppose you want to return the value in the calling program. If you want to return the value in the calling program, then you can supply out parameter or in out parameter.
Okay.
So I'll explain it. See what's happening here. Create procedure ABC, in out, read and write. So parameter Y is an out, it is read and write. So in the procedure, set Y equal to Y into Y into Y, read and write. I can have this Y on both sides of equal to sign. I can read from it also, and I can assign a value also. So first you create the procedure ABC. Then I have given the calling program. I've given the calling program. So what happens here? In my calling program, I declare my X variable. I initialize it to 10. X is created in server app. It stores the value 10. Let's assume that this is the value of my X variable. It stores the value 10. So here, if I insert into temp X before ABC, if I insert into temp X before ABC, I will get 10 before ABC. Then what happens? Inside my PQR procedure, I make a call to ABC procedure. One procedure can call another procedure. Call ABC. I'm supplying the variable name X in brackets. At the receiving end, parameter Y is there. It is an out. So even in this situation, I can pass variables only. And even in this situation, it is called by reference. So what happens in this situation? The address of X will be sent to Y. Y and X will both share the same memory location. And therefore, Y also has a value 10 as of now. In the procedure, I'm setting Y equal to Y into Y into Y. Y becomes 1000. The value 1000 is written here. Indirectly, the value of X has also changed. Indirectly, the value of X has also changed. So after calling ABC procedure, when the control comes back to my calling program, now when I insert into temp, X after ABC, X after ABC will give me 1000 after ABC. Output is 1000 after ABC. don't forget to call PQR and check what is there in temp table. Did everyone understand the three different types of parameters? Now, my point is, if I were to compare these three types of parameters, as I mentioned in the beginning, in terms of processing speed, N is the fastest in terms of processing speed. So where am I going to use N parameter? If you don't want to return a value, then use N parameter, no? If you don't want to return a value, then use N parameter. It is fastest in terms of processing speed. It is fastest in terms of processing speed. Comparatively, out and in out will be slower. If I were to compare the other two, comparatively out and in out will be slow because call by reference is always going to be slow. But if you want to return a value, then we have to choose between out and in out. Which one would you recommend? I would say in out is the most powerful now. Read also, write also, return a value also. So if you want to return a value, you can go in for in out. Comparatively out is the most secure. Would you agree? No one can read from it, no? So if you want to return a value and you're working on a public network, if you want to return a value and if you are working on a public network, when I say public network, I imply internet. If you're working on the internet, if you want to return a value, go for out parameter. Nobody can read from it. People can assign a value, but then in that case, they will get an authentication error. So stuff like username, password, and all, we normally choose out parameter. Whereas in out is the most powerful. I'm going to use in out if you're working on a local network. If you're working on a local network, inside your office, if you go to CDAC Kharkar or if you go to CDAC Juhu, they have a local network. And if you're working in CDAC Kharkar or CDAC Juhu, we are all having trusted users there. So their security is not a concern. So in CDAC Kharkar or CDAC Juhu, if you want to return a value, you can go for in out. But if you're working on public network, for example, internet, username, password, OTP, you will go for out parameter. Main thing is practical use. You should know which one to use where. So here I'm going to use out parameter. No problem, students. Shall we start with a new topic?
हेलो सर
Yes.
सर इन पैरामीटर में हमने जो पैरामीटर भेजा है पैरेंथेसिस में उसको हम राइट नहीं कर सकते ना
Hmm.
लेकिन मैंने मेरे एंड पे ट्राई किया तो मैं राइट कर पा रहा हूँ उसको
You mean you've declared y as an in parameter and you're trying to change
Yes.
the value of y.
yes if I am passing 5 as a parameter still while giving output it is updating the value which I have initialized y as 100 and it is storing 100 inside the table not a 5
Hmm.
also it is not showing any error.
So what does that mean?
It means that we can write also.
It means that there is a bug in your MySQL software. It means that MySQL is not a reliable software. There are lots of things like that. The other day I pointed out, if I specify check constraint, I can specify check constraint, but when I enter a value, I can break the check constraint. It still allows. So these are all bugs in MySQL. Maybe future versions will remove those bugs.
Yes, sir. Got it.
When you go for placement, you please answer, as I have said, that in parameter is read only. Value cannot be changed inside.
Yes, sir.
And if you're going to get placed in Bombay, 99.9% you'll be working on Oracle. अभी एक स्टूडेंट का मेरे को मैसेज आया दोपहर को फ्रॉम सीडा खारघर ओनली. %50 interview was Oracle, remaining 50% was Java. Shall we start with a new topic? Let's go through stored function. This is one more stored object. Objects that are stored in the database. Objects that are stored in the database. They are known as stored objects. There are few stored objects that we have already seen. We have done tables, we have done indexes, we have done views and procedures. Next one is stored functions. The way I would look at it, anything that you do with create command is a stored object. It goes in the database. There is a system table for it. The definition of a function, it's a routine that returns a value. A return statement is there. So here there is no call by reference. A return statement is there. It returns a value directly. return 10, return 100. It returns a value directly. It returns a value directly and compulsorily. In MySQL, if you create a function, you have to return a value. You can't have a void function. Compulsory. You have to return a value. You return 10, return 100, return null, no problem. Return null, but make sure that you return something. Otherwise, you'll get an error. Make sure that you return something. Otherwise, you'll get an error. Load functions are global functions. What do I mean by global? Can be called through MySQL command line client. Can be called through MySQL workbench. Can be called through MySQL PL. Can be called through Java. Can be called through .NET, etc. So what I'm trying to say here is, can be called through any front-end software. It can be called through any front-end software. Unlike a procedure, a function cannot be called by itself. Remember, in the case of procedure, we were saying call ABC, call PQR. Procedure can be called by itself, but a function cannot be called by itself. Why? A function cannot be called by itself because a function, it returns a value. It returns a value, and that value has to be stored somewhere. So it has to be equated with the variable. It has to be equated with the variable. It has to be a part of some expression. So unlike a procedure, a function cannot be called by itself. Because a function returns a value. And that value has to be stored somewhere. That value has to be stored somewhere. And therefore, a function has to be equated with a variable, or it has to be a part of some expression. Remaining points, etc., same as procedures. There's no point writing the same thing again, but etc., points and benefits are same as procedures. Just like I use the term procedure and stored procedure interchangeably, I can use the terms function and stored function, intermittent. The stored functions are global functions. Why I'm calling it global? Because it's a stored object. It goes in the database. There is a system table for functions also. And the entire code of the function will be stored over there. Secondly, the code of the function is there in the database. It's there in the system tables. It's there in the compiled format. So that benefit also I'm getting. Execution will be very fast. And we are hiding the source code from end user. Execution takes place in server RAM. One function can call another function. Function can call itself. Concept is known as recursion. Just be careful. You don't go into infinite loop. Put some condition. Create a global variable. Use a session variable. If at the rate x less than 10, then increment at the rate x by 1 and call ABC. So it will call itself 10 times. Once global variable or session variable x has reached a value 10, it will stop calling itself. All right. Stored procedure can call stored function. Stored function can call stored procedure. All that is possible. Within the function, you can have any processing. Full MySQL allowed. You can have cursor, you can have variable. All that is possible. If you want to make it flexible, you can pass parameters to a function. Noted students, may I rub all this? You can pass parameters to a function. The only thing is, you can have in parameters only. You can't have out parameter and in out parameter. Functions are of two types. Deterministic and not deterministic. Functions are of two types. Deterministic and not deterministic. Can anyone explain what is deterministic and what is not deterministic? Students, have you come across anyone about any feature that explains what is deterministic and not deterministic? Kaustubh, are you aware of this?
No, sir.
Devi,
Yes, sir.
the last 6-7 years, I've only come across two people who knows what is deterministic and what is not deterministic. And one of those two people is yours truly.
Oh,
Yeah.
and I don't know.
So Mahesh told me what is difference between deterministic and not deterministic. And his explanation was based on foundation of maths because he's done his postgrad in mathematics. And when he explained the difference between deterministic and not deterministic to me and the rest of the batch, I did not understand a word he said. So after the batch got over, at night I called him and I asked him once again to explain in detail. We did a WhatsApp face call. Then he explained deterministic and non. So hats off to him. He's one of the two people who could tell me the difference. The other guy was from YCP, is from YCP. He's got an engineering background, he's got work experience, so he knew the difference. So let me explain to everyone now what is deterministic and not deterministic. Listen, students. You can pass parameter to function. Now, point is, for the same input parameters, if the function returns the same result each time, it is considered deterministic. And otherwise, it is considered not deterministic. For example, I have a function for HRA calculation. Let's say HRA is 40% of SAL. I will pass the SAL as parameter. Now, whether I call the function today, I call the function after tomorrow, or I call the function after 1 week, each time I make a call to it, if I send the same value 3000, it's going to return the same result, 40% of 3000. So such a function is deterministic. But for the same parameter, if the stored function returns a different result each time, then it is considered not deterministic. For example, I have a function for age calculation. What is the age of the employee? Sys date minus date of birth. That is the age of the employee. So for age calculation, I'm going to pass date of birth as a parameter. The thing is, if I call the function today and pass a particular date of birth, I'm going to get one result. The same function, if I call it tomorrow and I pass date of birth as a parameter, it's going to give me a different result. By tomorrow, even if I call the same function after 1 second, it will give me a difference, a value every time. Such a function is not deterministic. You have to decide whether a stored function is deterministic or not deterministic. Because if you declare it incorrectly, the stored function may produce an unexpected result, or the available optimization is not used, which degrades the performance. Let's make a note of it. For the same input parameters, if the stored function returns the same result, it is considered deterministic. Otherwise, the stored function is not deterministic. Thing is, you have to decide whether a stored function is deterministic or not. The reason being, if we declare it incorrectly, the stored function may produce an unexpected result or the available optimization is not used, which degrades the performance. So mostly your function, don't worry about it. Mostly your function is going to be deterministic only. Only if sysdate or now are used inside the body of the function, only if sysdate and now are used inside the body of the function, then the function is not deterministic. Only if the current date and time are used inside the body of the function, then it will be not deterministic. Else, mostly it is going to be so straight away. Let's create a function. Start writing, please. Create function ABC, returns int, deterministic, return 10. Saurabh is saying, good question, bro. Which question are you referring to, Saurabh?
Question was, which car do you have?
Oh, wrote it. I'll explain it. Spelling of creator. Create function ABC. Create function ABC. I'm creating a function by the name of ABC. ABC is my function name. Maximum 30 characters. Function name, table name cannot be the same. It has to be some unique name. Try to give it a meaningful name. So here I am creating a function by the name of ABC. Returns int. Function returns a value. I need to specify the return data type, whether it is int or float, char or varchar, date, time or date time. Returns int. Deterministic. Begin. Nothing complicated. Return 10. Nothing complicated. My function returns a value 10. To cut a long story short, function returns a value 10. Full MySQL PL is allowed here. You can declare variable, you can declare cursor, you can have a statement, you can have loops. All that is possible. This is, there is no my default, Aniket. You need to specify explicitly whether deterministic or not deterministic. Now, this is the source code of the function. You type this inside your workbench. Once you type this inside your workbench, you'll get to see a message, function created. Once my function has been created, it is permanent. No need to say commit. Create function. Create is a DDL command. Once you create the function, it is there in the database, it's there in the system tables, it's there in the compiled format. It is stored in compiled format. Now, once my function has been created, I can make a call to it. So let's write the calling program. Students, please note this. Create procedure PQR. Begin. That's okay, Aniket. Don't believe in Google. Can't rely on Google as a source of information. आजकल टीवी पे न्यूज भी देखा तो that is not reliable. Rotate. Listen now. Let me explain. Create procedure PQR. I create a procedure PQR. I declare my X variable. Here I'm setting X equal to ABC. We'll call my function ABC. So procedure calls function. Don't forget to call the procedure. Here I'm saying call PQR. Here I'm saying call PQR. Now let's understand what happens. Here when I say call PQR, we come to function PQR. Sorry, here when I say call PQR, you come to procedure PQR. We enter the body of the procedure. I declare my X variable. It isn't. So X is created in server and it will store null value. Set X equal to ABC. Remember what I said earlier. A function cannot be called by itself because a function returns a value. That value has to be stored somewhere. And therefore, a function has to be equated with the variable, or it has to be a part of some expression. So here when I say call ABC, I'm going to get an error. To call the function, it has to be equated with the variable. Set X equal to ABC will make a call to my function ABC. Come to function ABC, come inside the function ABC. What is my function doing? It returns a value 10. It returns a value 10. This value 10 will be returned here at the calling point. This value 10 will be returned here at the calling point. So my X variable is initialized to 10. X will store the value 10. And therefore, now if I insert into 10, X after ABC, what is the value of X? The value of X is 10 now. So I'm going to get 10 after ABC. Output is 10 after ABC. No problem, students. So create the function and call it in all your programs. Now, listen, you can pass parameters to a function. So create function ABC. I will specify parameter Y, it isn't. And inside the function, I'll return Y into Y. So when I make a call to it, set X equal to ABC of 10. Please write everything top to bottom. Please write everything. And let me know, Kaustubh, when you finish writing.
Yeah.
So functions of same name, if we are creating, so we should drop it like procedure.
Yes.
Okay, sir.
Done, sir.
I'll explain it. My function ABC requires a parameter y, it isn't. My function is returning y into y. It's an ordinary function that returns square of number. Below I have written the calling program, the calling procedure. Call PQR, come inside PQR. I declare my local variable x variable is integer. Set x equal to ABC of 10. Here when I set x equal to ABC of 10, it will call my function ABC. I'm supplying the value 10 in brackets. 10 will be sent across to my function. At the receiving end, parameter y is there. It will be initialized to 10. Here, I'm saying return y into y. Will return 100. 100 is returned here at the calling point. So x is initialized to 100. So now when I insert into 10, x after ABC, I'm going to see 100 after ABC. So output of program is 100 after ABC. No problem, students. Create the function and then you can call it. Now listen to something very, very important. Interview question. Students, interview question. I'll tell you something which is worth 1 lakh rupees now. It comes in interviews. What is similarity between stored procedure and what is the difference between stored procedure and stored function? Okay? There's no need to write anything. All the points are there in your notebook. Only the last point which I tell you, that has to be written. So the question is, what is similarity between stored procedure and stored function? What is the difference between stored procedure and stored function? First, let's discuss the similarity. Stored procedure, stored function. Both of them are stored objects. Both of them, they are stored in the database. There's a system table for them. Both of them are stored in the database in the compiled format. Therefore, the execution is very fast. We are hiding the source code from user. Execution is in server. Both of them are global. Both of them can be called through command line client, workbench, through MySQL, Java, .NET, etc. Can be called through any front-end software. Now comes to the difference. Difference between procedure and function. Procedure does not return a value unless you call by reference. Function, compulsory, you have to return a value. You can't have a void function here. If you don't want to return a value, create a procedure. Function returns a value compulsorily and directly. There is no indirectly call by reference here. Coming to procedure. Procedure can be called by itself, but function cannot be called by itself because function returns a value. That value has to be stored somewhere, and therefore my function has to be equated with a variable, or it has to be a part of some expression, and therefore it has to be called through some program. Procedure will allow in parameter, out parameter, in out parameter. In the case of function, I can pass in parameters only. ये सब सबको पता है. But now listen up. Listen to the most important point. Rohit, most important point. Difference between procedure and function. What is this function doing? It returns the square of number. Na? Whatever you pass to it, it returns the square of number. Difference between procedure and function is that stored function can be called in select statement. You understand? Stored function can be called in select statement. You remember last week, we saw all those functions like upper and lower. We saw round and truncate. For remaining things, for remaining requirements, please create your own and you call them in select state. Rohit, doesn't this increase the scope of SQL like anything? Remember, we had upper and lower, but we did not have init cap. I need to take combo of upper and lower and substring to achieve init cap. Create your own function called init cap and use it in your select statement. Or if you remember, we had LPAR and RPAD for right justification and left justification. But there's nothing for center justification. Center justification would be combination of LPAD and RPAD. Create your own function for center pad and call it in all your select state. Or remember, we have sum and average. We had min and max. But I don't have anything for arithmetic mean, for median, for mode, for all such things. Create your own and call it in select state. So stored function, in fact, this should be your first answer. Difference between procedure and function is that function can be called in select statement. Bus. Next thing interviewer will ask, when can you join? Stored function can be called in select state. Stored function can be called in SQL commands. I can call it an insert, update, delete also. So here I can always select ABC of 10 from dual. And I can call it an insert, update, delete also. Delete from EMP, where ABC of SAT equal to 1,000,000. Noted everyone? I'll demonstrate it. See the screen. Let me create this function. I log in to Workbench. Dheeraj, function can only return one value. No? Suppose you want to return two values. You want to return area of rectangle, you also want to return perimeter of rectangle. So with procedure, I can pass two parameters, out parameters. I can call by reference, and now I can return two values, which is not possible with function. Understood, Dheeraj?
Yes, sir.
So I've logged in as Dishi user. First, I'll create my function. Function is created. Now I can call this function in my select statement. I will select ABC of 10 from board. See the output. Return 100. So I can call it in select state. I don't have EMP table. Otherwise, I could have shown you this with sal column. Will return the square of sal. Let's do one more. Please note down the function. Below, I will write down the calling procedure. Let me know when you want me to scroll down. तो मेरे लिए क्या लिखे ऐसे बाहर गई थी भेलपुरी सेवपुरी
Sir, scroll down.
scroll down.
Yes.
Spelling of procedure. This will come in your lab exam. You'll have to write 10-15 select statements. You'll have to create stored procedure. You'll have to create stored function. The calling program need not be written. You won't get extra marks if you write the calling program, but you will get respect if you write the calling program. So, Ameya, my wife is asking, where are you located? Are you in Kerala or something? Because
No,
such
no,
a,
sir. Sindhudurg, southern
No.
tip of Maharashtra.
I know he saw your background, उसको लगा तू कहीं बीच पे बैठा है.
नहीं नहीं.
वो बहुत भोली है, उसको पता नहीं कैसे वर्चुअल बैकग्राउंड होता है. He said, wow, where is this guy? I said, सिंधुदुर्ग में, southern tip of Maharashtra. बाद में तेरे को दिखाऊंगा how to set virtual background. Sindhudurg. Is that close to Ratnagiri?
Yes, sir. 100 kilometers ahead of Ratnagiri while traveling from Mumbai.
Towards Goa.
Yes, yes. Goa is 80 kilometers from far from here, from my house.
Wow, that's great, yeah. So you must be a frequent visitor to Goa. Come, I'll explain it. So that's my temp table. I'll also create EMP table. In EMP table, I have ename and SAL. Let's consider King 9000. I have ename and SAL. King 9000. Noted. Now, listen. First, you create the function. Function ABC requires a parameter Y. It is integer. It returns Boolean. Remember Boolean? Returns true or false. First, you create this function. Below, I have written the calling program. Don't forget, at the end of it all, don't forget to call PQR. Now let's understand what happens. Write it, Dheeraj. Call PQR. Maybe later you'll forget. You will call the procedure PQR. The procedure PQR in turn is calling the function ABC. Now let's see what happens here. Here I'm saying call PQR. We come inside procedure PQR. Inside procedure PQR, I declare my X variable. It isn't, look here. I declare X variable. It isn't. So X variable is created in server app. It will store null value. Select sal into X, where rename equal to king. Select sal into X, name equal to king. Name equal to king, the sal is 9,000. So when I say select sal into X, my X variable is initialized. X will be 9,000. If ABC of X will make a call to my function ABC. Look up, come to function ABC. I'm passing X, I'm passing the value 9,000 as value for parameter Y. So Y is equal to 9,000. Come inside the function. Inside the function, if Y is greater than 5,000, condition is satisfied, then return true. Return true. True will be returned here at the calling point. If true, then what? I insert into temp. X is greater than 5,000. I will get salary. I will get X. That is 9,000 is greater than 5,000. Okay. And just in case the salary of king was 3,000 or something, if the salary of king was 3,000 or something, then X variable will be 3,000. If X is equal to 3,000, Y will be 3,000. If X equal to 3,000, Y will be 3,000. If Y is greater than 5,000, condition is not satisfied. It will return false. False will be returned here at the calling point. If false, then it will go in the else part. I'll get salary less than equal to 5,000. I'll get 3,000 less than equal to 5,000. Am I clear? Two quick points, students. Two quick points. Listen. Two quick points. A function cannot be called by itself, unlike a procedure, because function returns a value. That value has to be stored somewhere. And therefore, a function has to be equated with a variable, or it has to be a part of some expression. However, look here, this is the unique situation. This is the unique situation. If my function returns a Boolean value, then we can directly use the function name as a condition for if statement. If true, then, if not, false, then, and so on. Moreover, thirdly, this example was taken because I had mentioned earlier, this example was taken because a function is normally used as a validation routine. function is normally used for checking purposes. A function normally returns a Boolean true or false value. Accordingly, some future process. To create the function, return true, return false, and then call it an if statement. If true, then, if not false, then, and so on. Is it clear, everyone? Now, before we stop, if you want to drop the function, as Devi was asking earlier, drop function ABC, otherwise it's permanent. And if you want to see which all functions you have created, I will say show function status. Show function status shows all functions in all schemas. Shows all functions in all schemas. If you want to be specific, you can always say show function status, where DB equal to Bhopal will show me which functions are there in my Bhopal database inside my Bhopal schema. In fact, I could even say show function status where name like a percentage will show me all functions which start with the letter A. And if you want to view the source code of stored function, students, even the source code of stored function is there in system tables. I can always say to create function ABC will show me the source code of function ABC. And if you want to share the function, if you want to share the other function with other users, how will you do that? You'll have to use grant and revoke. Here again, you'll have to grant the execute permission. You'll have to grant the execute permission. Grant execute on function ABC. Grant execute on function ABC to Rohit will grant him execute permissions on function ABC. And opposite of grant is revoke. Revoke execute on function ABC from Rohit. And that's how you can revoke the permissions later. This is normally done. I'll create the function, I'll share it with others, then others can also call it.
Sir, can I change the source code of function, or I have to drop and then recreate it?
Drop and recreate. To create or replace one option is not available. It's not available. Remember with view, I was saying create or replace view. But That's not possible with procedure and function. To change the source code, to make changes, to modify, you'll have to drop and recreate. So let's see how to implement this. Are you done writing, students? So let's consider Kaustubh is asking, can we give permission of all functions in one statement? No, Kaustubh. You'll have to grant each function separately. But Kaustubh, what we can do is one function you can grant to everyone. Either you say grant execute on function ABC to Dheeraj, Ameya, Kaustubh, or you can grant to public also, which means all the users. But for each function, you'll have to grant separate. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And so I'll explain grant and revoke. I have a multi-user environment. I have two users. I have two users. Let's assume the first user name is Dishi and schema name is Gopal. The second user name is Kirti. Schema name is Bollier. Can you please mute your mics, students, unless you have a question to ask? Yeah. So I have two users, Dishi and Kirti. For Dishi, the database is Bhopal. For Kirti, it is Bollier. Now, let's assume that Dishi creates a function. Create function ABC. So Dishi is creating function by the name of ABC. So where is this function stored? It goes in Bhopal database. It goes in Bhopal schema. Now, if she wants to share it with other users, suppose she wants to share it with Kirti, she will say grant execute on function ABC to Kirti. And once she is granted this permission, how will Kirti make a call to the function? When Kirti makes a call to the function, you will select Gopal.abc. From dual. And that's how you can call the functions of other users, provided they have granted you the permission. Provided they have granted you the permission. No problem. Ameya, try it out later. create a function, share it with your team members, with your group mates. Are you also a part of bit by bit?
Oh, sir. You asking me?
Hmm.
No, sir. I'm from Terror for Errors. You
Error for error. You're a terrorist or errorist. ये नाम आप लोगों ने नहीं डिसाइड किए ना?
Yes, sir.
Interesting. I have not seen this anywhere else. In other CTech center, I have not seen group name. और ग्रुप बनाया भी ना तो CTech will decide this is group A, group B, group C, group ऐसा है. But terror for error, bit by bit sounds more fun. Are you doing this on purpose? Whoever it is. No problem, students. How to create function, how to share with others. ये आगे वापस इसका नाम दिया तो. So, if you're done writing, then I'll delete this. Yes. And let us stop here for the day. And you are now in a position in MySQL. You can attempt up till exercise 6. I'll just confirm that. Yeah. You can do exercise 6 also. Seventh one is on triggers. Topic of triggers will cover tomorrow. And students, regarding your lab exam, I'll give you the tentative format. It is 40 marks, 90 minutes. So you'll have to create table. You'll have to insert rows. You will have to write 10 to 15 select statements. You'll have to create one stored procedure. And you will create one stored. This is the format for the lab exam. So you have 2 more days to practice procedure and function. And yeah, we can stop the recording, whoever is in charge.